AI isn't just a headline anymore, is it? It's really woven into our daily lives. You find it in apps, sure, but also critical systems, things keeping cities running.
Absolutely. And it's moving at, well, warp speed, constantly evolving, incredibly impactful.
Which really brings up a fundamental question, doesn't it? How on earth do we effectively govern something that's so dynamic, so pervasive?
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
That's the exact challenge we're diving into today. Welcome, everyone, to a deep dive into governance in the era of AI.
And it's important to say this isn't just about, writing a few new rules.
No, not at all. It's about rethinking the fundamental structures, the processes we use to manage organizations, even society itself, really, in a world that's becoming AI first.
Definitely. And to help us navigate this pretty complex landscape, we've been looking at insights from a recent Governance in the Era of AI Roundtable.
Right. Think of it like getting the key takeaways on the new challenges popping up, potential blind spots we might have, and some fresh ideas for how we could maybe redesign governance for what's coming.
All right, so hi everyone. My name is Uche, and this is
Marian.
okay. And we're applied AI program design and delivery interns. So now you all pretty much have a hint of what we're going to talk about, based on the audio. Let's just quickly talk about what our team does. So our team has helped create a number of upskilling and thought leadership programs that are geared towards vector sponsor companies. And these programs could be boot camps, seminars, or roundtables like the governance roundtable, which we're obviously going to talk about today. So with that being said, I guess let's begin. So we'll start with the background, giving context into what governance actually is. Then we'll delve deeper into some details of the roundtable, talk about how we extracted insights for it, and then wrap up with some acknowledgements and lessons learned. So, Marian, after this roundtable, you're basically an expert at governance. So please, could you tell us exactly what it is?
Yes, thanks, Uche. So just imagine that you're on a flight and then the plane suddenly hits a turbulence, right? We
Yes, okay.
So
Turbulence.
you just have to think who would reassure the passengers, who will take action, who would ensure that everyone knows exactly what to do in this situation.
I'm guessing the crew, the pilots, the safety protocols that they've been trained to follow.
Yes, exactly. So they all work together to make sure that everybody is safe.
Oh, so I guess you could say, that's governance in plain terms, pun intended.
Exactly.
So how does this relate to an organization?
Yes, so when we talk about governance in organizations, it doesn't just mean bosses making decisions, right? It's the whole setup that keeps everything running, like the systems, the processes, and the practices that guides how people would make decisions, who's responsible for what, and how people are held accountable.
Okay, so then why do you think that governance is important when we talk about AI?
Well, AI has kicked off this huge wave of change, and honestly, it's nothing like the usual business transformations that we have seen previously. So think about how electricity or the internet completely reshaped the world. AI is on that level, maybe even bigger, but with more uncertainty. So circling back to our plane example, it's like AI is the turbulence and the organization is the plane. So navigating this turbulence requires entirely new approaches to leadership, strategy, and governance. But what makes this situation particularly challenging is that the current or traditional governance systems just can't keep up, and they expose organizations to several new risks or blind spots that may even affect teams that are not directly using AI or building it. So yeah, in short, AI is just moving faster than the old governance models can handle. So organizations would need to think of ways to keep up with these new changes.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's exactly what the governance in the era of AI roundtable set out to explore, right?
Yes, exactly. So we looked at how current governance structures must evolve to deal with how AI is changing and how organizations can future-proof these structures to withstand upcoming disruptions. So at a high level, participants had to gain or were able to gain insights into governance challenges and how people are able to face these challenges in this era. So maybe stuff like navigating AI regulations, data governance, risk management, and accountability. They also built connections with peers across the industry. So these networks created an opportunity for them to collaborate and then knowledge share beyond just the roundtable. And then they also had to stay ahead by exploring practical strategies to shape how AI is governed for long-term advantage.
Okay, yeah, got it. So I guess that really sets the stage. So I guess why don't we just dive into the details? So, who exactly was the target audience for this roundtable? And could you maybe walk us through, the project timelines and the deliverables, oh my gosh, that we had to, I guess, deliver along the way?
Yeah, so while the roundtable was mainly geared towards senior leaders, the kinds of people who shape big picture decisions, we had directors, senior managers, partners and specialists in AI ethics, risk, and privacy. In total, we had 31 participants from 15 different sponsor companies, spanning mainly from financial institutions, consulting firms, telecoms, and more. As for the timeline, the whole roundtable project took about a month and a half from start to finish. That included a call for participants, running the actual roundtable, and then wrapping up with sharing the summary document of the roundtable insights. And during that time, Uche and I were pretty hands-on. We worked on stuff like putting together the reference material, which is kind of like a mini literature review so that participants could get familiar with the topic ahead of time. We also prepared a podcast, which is what you actually heard at the beginning of the presentation based on these reference materials. And then we drafted questions for our panelists and then pulled out key insights throughout the roundtable. Uche, is there anything you would like to add to that?
No, that I guess sounds about right. And that isn't even an exhaustive list of the things we had to work on for the roundtable, but the timeline was very tight. I think it was much shorter than the previous roundtables that I've been a part of, but anyway. Okay, so with all that prep work in place, what did the actual day look like? How were the discussions structured?
Okay, so we basically focused on two main goals during the day. So the first half focused on uncovering new governance challenges and blind spots brought on by AI. Second was figuring out how to actually deal with those challenges in a way that reshapes governance. So we tackled these goals through three key areas of discussion. So that's the decentralized AI used by AI used by employees, indirect or ripple effects of AI, such as workforce anxieties and rising consumer expectations, and also managing vendors. And to give some context into these big areas during the actual roundtable, we started things off with a panel session of four experienced industry leaders, including Vector's CEO Glenda. So they all talked about the challenges they've witnessed so far with AI in their organizations and gave some advice on how to address them. And after that, using the context from the panel discussion, we jumped into our first breakout session, which was more hands-on. Participants were focused on mapping out the challenges they've encountered with AI governance. And then in the afternoon, things shifted from just naming these problems to actually thinking about the solutions. So to help with that, Andres, who's the director of applied AI projects here at Vector, introduced a resilience management framework that he developed. And I'm oversimplifying it a bit, but it's basically had guidelines to ensure that teams and leadership are aligned on governance conversations. And then once that was introduced, we moved into the second breakout session. We moved into the second breakout session, which was more about reimagining governance. So how do we make organizations more resilient, more agile, and better at anticipating risk in this era?
Okay, so got it. So I see we have panel discussions, the breakout sessions, the framework. What about these knowledge sharing thingies over here.
Yes, so okay, for that, it's after each breakout session, everybody regrouped into the main room to share back what they had discussed. And yeah, in fact, we can show you how the activities looked like.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, so from left to right, we had a panel discussion, and then we had the resiliency management framework session by Andres. And then for the morning breakout session, which was quite similar to the afternoon, and then knowledge sharing was a pretty packed and hectic day.
Yeah, I agree, but I think we handled it very well, don't you think? Yes. Okay, so I'm curious, what insights did you find most interesting from the roundtable? Would you mind sharing it with us? We kind of have to.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, there were a lot of things that the roundtable highlighted, very interesting challenges and solutions. First of all, the thing that came up was a lot of AI tools come from external vendors, but vendors often add new features or even swap out models without telling anyone. So they also keep out certain infrastructure details hidden, which makes it a bit harder for companies to really know what's going on. So a solution that was brought up by participants was putting transparency clauses in the vendor contract. Secondly, there's this whole shadow AI thing that's happening where employees just go ahead to use tools like ChatGPT, and that's a bit risky, it can lead to confidential data leaks. And one of our panelists actually brought up a study that shows that up to 10% of our AI queries involve confidential data, yes. So instead of banning these generative AI outright, I think the idea is to manage it better. So like filtering what people can input and then also giving the employees training so that they know how to use it responsibly. Third, there's an uneven gap in AI literacy. So for example, machine learning AI engineers already understand that large language models aren't magical, and then they also have limitations, but folks in other roles might not. So the suggestion is to incorporate role-based training. So that is to give each people or each group the knowledge that they actually need to know about AI. So yeah, you might be wondering.
Also governance.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, so for the governance one, this is more on regulation. So companies are trying to balance risk without killing innovation or scaring away talent.
Of course.
So the way one of our panelists framed this, it was governance by design. So instead of treating governance as this extra burden, it should be something built into everyday AI use and updated continuously as the tech evolves. So yeah, that brings us to the insights, but I guess there were ways for us to actually get these insights during the roundtable, and I'm wondering, Uche, would you like to show them how we did that?
Sure, of course. I thought you never actually explained for you. Okay, so just for some context, our team oversees a lot of projects which require producing comprehensive and structured summaries for participants after the live sessions that we have. And we use the Zoom transcripts of these sessions to create these reports or summaries. And of course, these reports must be delivered quickly, structured in a specific format and tone, and also not associated with any participant to protect their privacy. So the last criteria is a policy that is mostly applied to our roundtables, our roundtable discussions. Now for the governance roundtable, we needed to generate key takeaways before the end of the day itself, to serve as a recap of all the insights that were shared throughout the day, while still, of course, following these criteria. So this motivated us to develop this pipeline to facilitate this process, not just for the roundtable, but for the other types of projects that we work on in our team. So it works as follows. So first, you collect the Zoom transcripts generated after each session, clean them by redacting the personally identifiable information, and then split them by speaker. As to why we're splitting them by speaker, well, I will tell you that in just a moment. And then the next thing is to extract the text from the transcripts and then feed them into Google Gemini using the Gemini API and then a sample output with predefined prompts. Now, of course, I could yap on about how this works all day, but what if I just showed you? This is demo day after all. So I pre-recorded a video because I don't trust myself with demos. So let's see. I'll just play that. Awesome. Okay. Let me just make it a bit clearer. Yeah, okay, so now we have the Zoom transcript toolkit and we have two tabs here. So this one is just to clean the transcript only, and the next one is to generate from the clean transcripts. And in this box here, you can of course upload your raw transcript. And let's just take a look at what the a Zoom transcript actually looks like. So it's a bit small, but we have here, I guess Michael Scott, we have the timelines here, and we have Michael Scott saying, okay, so good morning, welcome to today's Endless Summer School session, blah, blah, blah. I'm a project manager here at Vector. Would like to extend a warm welcome to Stark, Chris, Presto, Jan, just making random stuff up, okay? So let's just skip ahead a bit. All right, so now we just copy the transcript over here, and I've already included those names that I mentioned, comma separated, and it's not case sensitive either. So the next step is to just clean and split by speaker, which I'm about to do. Yeah, there we go. And then we have these transcripts split by these speakers. So these are my favorite TV show characters, most of them at least, Michael Scott, Steve Griffin, Sheldon Cooper. So these are all the unique insights that is shared during this roundtable that we have. So let's take a look at what Michael Scott said. Don't worry, it's PG. I know it's Michael. So we have here, my name is Michael Scott. I'm a project manager here at, okay, my face is blocking that, but a warm welcome to redacted. So if you know Michael Scott, he should be censored, right? So let's move on to the next. Yeah. So now you can, of course, download everything as a zip file and then maybe use it on any LLM that you want, but we had one inbuilt here. So here you can just select the clean transcript. You can select anyone we want or a combination if maybe two people gave a presentation and you want to get their collective insights. But here we're choosing Stewie Griffin. So let's see what Stewie has to say. But before that, let's take a look at the example output that I gave. So this is from one of our Endless Summer School sessions. So you can see we have some headings here. So like the technical framework, key findings, and takeaways from FAIR AI with foundation models. So then we move it to then we drag and drop the example output here and then summarize using only facts from the transcript, use markdown elements and all that. So we generate summary. Next, that will take some time, so we can just skip ahead 20 seconds, but let's find out what Stewie had to say. Okay, yeah. So this is basically what the output looks like after a couple of seconds. Okay, just skip here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we have this, the technical framework, the headers are the same, key findings from what he said, and then takeaways from this time automated capability, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all that. But yeah, all that from the ESS session. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the demo.
That was a really great demo, Uche. A very useful tool. Are there other instances where we can use it?
Well, yeah, so as I also mentioned a bit before, we can use it for our roundtable sessions to make key takeaways after each one. We can also use it for our ESS sessions to where researchers present their work, one after the other, and we need to kind of get the unique insights of each one. And then for Vector Business Insights as well, which follow a similar structure as the Endless Summer School sessions, but more businessy and industry focused. And I guess we can also use it for our boot camps where you need to summarize each team's use case and outcomes presented by them. So, so here are some examples of what these finished documents look like. On the left, we have an endless school session summary presented, well, I won't say in person, but presented by someone here. And then we have the bootcamp use case summary presented by Accenture team in one of our boot camps. So yeah.
Okay, so I recall you mentioned that there were some challenges that you faced. What were they?
Okay, so yeah, of course, there are still limitations in this tool and there is still some work to be done. So I guess the first thing is that, we're still using Gen AI for this, so it has some of the issues that LLMs typically have, making stuff up or misunderstanding questions and all that. There is also the fact that it's not completely automated, and so you still need to gather examples and validate the outputs, as you should, of course, and then edit it to your satisfaction. You also need to input the names manually, which can be stressful, especially if there are a lot of participants. And then, there is also the issue of Zoom mistranscriptions, which can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, one of our PMs said Fatme and Uche, and Zoom took it upon itself to body shame me by changing that to Fatman Uche. Thank you, Zoom. Or Vector Institute to Victor in Suits, or key takeaways to key takeaways. But don't worry, I made the last one up. And this can, of course, affect the redaction and summary process.
Thanks for that, Batman Uche. Okay.
That's it. Okay.
So that brings us to the wonderful people that we worked with during this project.
Okay. Oh yeah, so starting with, we would like to give a shout out to everyone who made this roundtable a success, who coordinated all the sessions and so on. I think, I see Tanya in the audience too. Thank you so much. Tanya, you're a rock star and a role model for us interns. Oh, you're blushing. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Okay. Then of course, Cheyenne too. Thank you so much for your advice. In preparing this presentation, and of course all the things you've done for me since I arrived at Vector. You've given me a lot of advice that has really helped me. And I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. Hearts. All right.
And of course to the core team who worked tirelessly to deliver an amazing roundtable. Diana and Winnie are such wonderful leaders, and they work very seamlessly together. So they made the whole work much more engaging and very enjoyable. And also to Uche, who has been really supportive. He's very attentive to detail and he's also very willing to share. So very inspiring. Thank you, Uche.
Thank you. I know I'm the best and I haven't forgiven you for the 5-man thing, but okay. But I'll let that slide. But you too, Marian, you've really done a great job this semester. For someone who is in her first time, she has been really involved in a lot of projects. I don't know how she sleeps at night or if she even sleeps, but you've delivered on them, and that can be attested to by the PMs in our team. So well done. And the thing is, I bet this has you've learned so much from your experience so far, right?
Yeah, definitely. Throughout my time here, it's been a learning experience overall. I've built stronger organizational habits. I've had to juggle multiple moving parts, and it's really taught me how to break tasks down and also to plan ahead, be more proactive. And it's also helped me to stay on top of everything and get more comfortable with the workflows here and manage my time much more better. I've also become more creative and confident in speaking. I might be shaking a bit here, but trust me, initially it wasn't like this. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity I've gotten here to speak. And also things I felt ambiguous sometimes, especially like during the roundtable prep and all. But having this ability to speak up was much helpful, yes, because it gave me the opportunity to spark discussions and get more clarity. Also, along the way, I've picked up a lot on the business side, especially thanks to this roundtable. I have a clearer picture on how governance and AI intersect. So yes, and I've also learned to blend technical and non-technical skills. And finally, I'm really grateful for the Impact Mentorship Program because I've been able to get valuable guidance on possible career paths and also how to like align my technical strengths with emerging opportunities here like in AI. So yes, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of that, especially the I guess the part about speaking up. That's something I really struggled with. I was terrified to talk to everyone, especially when I got to Vector, so Winnie, Deanna, even Taylor too. I told you that a million times, Taylor, right? But Winnie, Deanna, Tanya too have really pushed me, not literally, of course, but they pushed me and encouraged me to, give presentations, showcase my work, which has really, I guess, helped develop my confidence. So I guess with that, we've come to the end of the presentation. Did you have any more to say?
No, you said it.
Okay, yeah. So now it's your turn. Do you have any questions for us?
Delight to have you on the team. Fantastic job, just overall. Really great presentation as well. And just one question on the reference material and the podcast that you made. So how was that process? Because it must have been difficult to consolidate all that information together into something that's usable and easily digestible by people, right?
Yeah. To be honest, it was very rigorous. There were a lot of versions that were made, about 6 versions. But basically, what we just had to do is to find resources that relate to governance and AI. We were not necessarily reading everything, just skimming through. With the help of the Notebook LM, which is a very good tool, is similar to ChatGPT, but it does stuff like the podcast, and it also writes things down. It was just easier for us to break down things and to make the document basically. But yeah, there were lots of reiterations. Our leaders kept going through it and giving us feedback, so we kept making changes. But I'll say overall, it was just much easier with the help of tools like the Notebook LM.
Sometimes we even wonder what life was like before AI even.
Yeah.
But with the notebook LM stuff, it also gave citations which we could use to cross-reference where it's getting the information from. So it's not, hallucinating stuff, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Fantastic.